For centuries, ships have set sail from this historic port, loaded up with the mineral that has put this county on the international map. Find out what it is and where I am in just a few moments.
This show, we're helping a couple who have given up work to enjoy some quality time together. We'll be putting our feet up at one of our properties.
Reading the Sunday papers, having coffee.
And lovers in the air at another.
She might even kiss you at that.
Today I'm in Foy in Cornwall. During the early 1900s, this county produced and exported more than half of the world's supply of China clay, and it remains a multi-million-pound industry today. In fact, you can still see the huge cargo ships travelling through this harbour on their way out to sea. Later on, I'll be popping into Foy to find out how they celebrate their maritime heritage. But first, let's see what else makes this county such a special place to be. The average price for a detached house here in Cornwall is around £262,000. That's around £5,000 above the national figure. Now, according to local estate agents, they expect the market to remain fairly buoyant over the next few years, due in no small part to the strong tourist industry, which then in turn fuels demand for second properties, especially around coastal areas like this. Now, heading over to firm favourites like Foy and St Maurs, well, a sea view can actually double the asking price of a property. But whereabouts in Cornwall do today's buyers want to look? Let's meet them and find out.
For the past 5 years, Christopher and Margaret have lived in this 3-bedroom house in the city of Worcester. But now they're seeking a complete change from the hustle and bustle of the West Midlands.
Living in Worcester, it's very nice. It's a nice city, but we are in the middle of a housing estate, even though we've got a lovely, quirky house in that housing estate. And you can hear quite a lot of traffic noise when you're sat outside.
I think we'd like a more village lifestyle, possibly, so we could get involved with the local community.
They've been married for 18 years and they first met through a dating agency. But it wasn't the first time Margaret had clocked Chris.
She said, "I know you." I said, "Do you?" "Well, I don't know you." And it turned out we'd lived 6 doors away from each other, started chatting and dating, and I moved in 2 months later.
Chris is taking early retirement as an electrical engineer. He's looking forward to spending more time in the garden and on his other hobbies.
I've always liked messing about in boats and on water. You know, I find it very calming. At the moment, living in Worcester, we're about quite a long way away from the sea, and I hope that when we get to Cornwall, we'll be doing a lot more sailing.
Margaret has also given up work as a nurse after receiving some bad news a few years ago.
One day I was just walking back to the car and started staggering around the car park, like I'd had sort of 20 pints or something. And then upon investigations at hospital and everything, they found out that I had a brain tumour.
Although she's been given the all clear, Margaret's recent setback has been the catalyst in this move.
This is why it's come to this point now, with me having my illnesses. It's as if it's kickstart, saying, come on, you know, you've got the opportunity now to do it.
And with their grown-up children from previous marriages having all flown the nest, it's now a chance to spend some quality time together.
As Margaret regains some strength, we hope that we can do a lot more walking across the coast of Cornwall, across the beaches, take the dogs. They love running across the beaches and going in the water. I want to have more time with my wife. I want to have more time to do the things that are pleasurable.
All that's left is to find out how much is financing this new life in the Cornish countryside.
The budget for the move to Cornwall is £500,000.
Chris and Margaret would prefer to be close to the sea in a village location, so we're concentrating our property search with that in mind. I'm meeting them at a seaside spot close to Falmouth, an area they know well.
What is it about Cornwall that draws you both here, then?
It's the variety. It's not just the seaside and the countryside. It's also the moors to walk on. There's such a variety of little villages, little towns to visit, little ports, and yes, it's little fishing villages.
Quite right. There's so much more to this county, isn't there? Are you looking forward to getting stuck into that?
Yeah, absolutely, because every time we come, I mean, we come to Cornwall, you know, a few times a year, and we always find something new and somewhere new to visit.
Let's look at the house itself. You bring in a couple of dogs with you?
Yeah.
Margaret, how big does this house need to be?
We only really need 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
You know, we haven't got family living with us as such, although it would be nice to have some separate accommodation that we could either rent out as a holiday accommodation annex or even to have family to stay.
OK. Now, this separate accommodation, is this, you know, is this on your wish list, this?
Yes.
Right.
To be able to afford the lifestyle we want down here,
Yeah.
we need some sort of an income to supplement what we're going to be getting from our pensions.
Right. So it's a 3-bedroom house with some gardens.
With some character.
What do you count as character?
We would like something that is perhaps done in Cornish stone
Right.
or slate
Right.
of some description, something like that to give it a bit of Cornish character.
OK, I mean, there's a lot of real estate. You look around, actually, there's not a whole lot of old Cornish stone properties around, certainly not for sale of a certain size. How open-minded are you to this sort of character?
Again, I think we really don't want a new build. But again, I suppose we're open to anything. You never know, do you?
Let's see how we get on the first house. I've got a fair idea of what are essential parts of the house, size and location. From then on, we'll go from there. All right?
OK, great.
Thank you.
Just this way.
OK.
For a budget of £500,000, Chris and Margaret would like an older property with character. In addition to the 3 bedrooms, Margaret would like a traditional farmhouse kitchen. Ideally, the property would come with separate accommodation for holiday guests. They want a moderately sized garden for the dogs, and they'd like their house to be in a village location and, most importantly, close to the sea for Chris's sailing. We've got 3 wonderful Cornish homes lined up to captivate Chris and Margaret, and at each one, they'll have to guess the price at the end of the tour. Our last property is the Mystery House, which may require our buyers to look beyond what's already there.
So, you're both sailors, I take it?
Not necessarily myself by choice.
Oh!
It's a case of either getting involved or stay at home, isn't it? So I do quite enjoy it, actually. I love being on the boat.
OK,
So
so
it's lovely.
does that make you the skipper then, Chris?
Yes, well, when we first talked about having a boat, my wife wanted a caravan, so I got one that floated.
Oh, OK. Well, that's not a bad compromise. Sounds like you're good at making those then, are you?
I try and make compromises in life, yes.
Well, yeah. All right. I wasn't thinking about you, Chris,
I was
to
going
be
to say,
honest
I
with
think
you.
I make more than you.
For our first property, we're heading a little inland from Falmouth to the village of Mulpus. The closest amenities can be found 2 miles away in Truro, which, despite its city status, has the feel of a small town, with a range of shops lining its Georgian cobbled streets. Dominating the skyline is the impressive Victorian Gothic cathedral. 10 minutes drive away is house number 1, nestled on the high banks overlooking the Truro River, and it's a bit of a climb to get there.
Well, the climb is certainly worth it when you come up to this front garden.
Yeah,
Come on in.
goodness.
So, house number 1 is this.
Wow,
OK.
looks lovely.
Spectacular view.
Yeah,
it just?
absolutely. Boats, gosh, I've seen that every morning.
So, location-wise, close enough to water for you?
Couldn't get much
closer.
closer, could you? Yeah, it's lovely.
The house. Now, you can't see from here, but it's semi-detached, all right?
Right.
What's your thoughts on that?
It wouldn't be first choice.
No.
No.
OK. I don't think it's many people's first choice, but it's the compromise
That's
of getting
is the
this,
view,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And this, great.
Let's look inside.
OK.
It's not the traditional Cornish stone they're after, but this 1960s semi-detached property has made a good first impression, thanks largely to its fantastic river views. And that's why we've brought them here first.
So, the kitchen. Who does all the cooking?
Me.
Right. So you're the boss.
Gosh, yeah, imagine cooking there, looking at it. I won't be doing any cooking, will I? That's it. Takeaways from now on.
Well, whoever gets lumbered with the washing up has the best view in the house, don't they? Is this big enough?
Yeah, yes. I mean, it is literally only the 2 of us and 2 dogs. We have visitors, family to stay, but yeah, no, it's certainly big enough.
Now, you said you wanted a house with character. It's 1960s, which a lot of people say, well, you know, it's modern. It's now over 50 years old.
Gosh.
This is, you know, this is period property
Yeah.
we're looking at now. Does this have enough character for you?
Probably not to start with. It's not, ideal, but it's certainly on the way towards what we would like, I think.
I think the kitchen has been done very nicely to a good standard, and yes, we could live in this kitchen.
Definitely.
As well as the kitchen, the ground floor also features a dining room with patio doors opening onto the front garden. Built into the hillside, the accommodation is arranged over 3 levels.
So half a floor up, if you like, you get this fantastic living room.
View's spectacular again.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let's go have a look then, shall we?
Okay.
Well, this is kind of an outside room now, isn't it?
It's lovely. Gosh.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's nice the way it changes all the time. Tide goes in and out, boats turn round. There's always something going on.
This probably wasn't what you had in mind, but can you see yourself here so far?
Well, I could certainly see myself sat here with a glass of wine, admiring the view, looking at the wildlife. Chris can look at the boats, or be on the boat.
Yes,
And,
I'd rather be down on the boat
yeah.
a lot of the time. But,
Well, if you're a
And then-
reluctant sailor, you can watch him
That's it, I
posh
can
about in
watch
his
him,
boat
yeah.
and have a nice glass of white wine. Yeah.
Sounds a good idea.
Let's go take a look at the bedroom.
Okay.
Up on the top floor, there are 4 bedrooms. 3 of those are doubles and there's 1 single, which is currently being used as a study. They're all serviced by a large family bathroom and an additional toilet. 2 of the double bedrooms have fantastic views over the front of the house, and one of those could be Chris and Margaret's master.
Guess what? It's got an amazing view.
yes, every room
Just for a
seems
change,
to.
yeah.
Run me through what's going through your minds at the moment. I mean, this is the first house we're seeing, so let's talk size at the moment. You know it's a 4-bedroom, but I don't know what your room sizes are like at the moment.
We have a very large bed.
That's true, because we've got a super king-size bed, so it's,
Right. OK.
it's rather large.
I would like a bigger bedroom than this, to be honest.
Fine. All right. It's good to know. What do you think, Margaret?
Yeah, probably the same, but I'm still open to, you know, we don't know what the other bedrooms are like and the rest of the house, so it's a complete package, isn't it? Trying to find the, you know,
It is,
the
yeah.
thing. I mean, if you took us straight into a house that was just absolutely wow in every room or something, it would be...
She might even kiss you at that.
Oh, God, I don't think he'd want that
I
yet.
better pick my game up, hadn't I? I was hoping this view was kiss-worthy,
Yeah.
but maybe not.
Yeah, yeah.
OK, well, look, let's go outside now towards the back of the house to have a look at the garden.
OK.
And start, if you can, to think about price.
Okay.
All right?
OK.
I'll lead the way.
Yeah.
As well as the lawn and patio at the front of the house, the property comes with a large secluded landscaped garden to the rear, with further patio areas overlooking the river.
So what do you think then, Chris?
Well, it's lots more than I've got now, which is good.
OK.
And it's got lots of little sun traps, which is nice as well.
Yeah, it is actually, it is private, isn't it? Bear in mind we're up on a hill,
Yes.
looking down over everybody else, which is rather nice, isn't it? How much do you think this house is on the market for?
Taking everything into account of where it is, the outlook and everything, I'll put it at 475.
All right. What do you think, Margaret?
Again, lovely location. You can't fault that whatsoever. I think less than that, I'm afraid. About 430.
Ooh, right. Well, you're in for a bit of a shock then. This place is on the market for offers around £500,000.
I think we're paying for the view.
Yeah.
You are, absolutely you are. So, where do we go from here? Well, I think you guys should go back inside, have a look around everything you haven't yet seen, and I'll meet you whenever you've done.
OK.
All right?
Thank you.
All right.
Mind you step on the way down.
OK.
Bang on budget at £500,000, our first property is a semi-detached modern house perched high above the Truro River. It has a large contemporary kitchen and an upstairs living room with doors opening onto a balcony. There are 4 good-sized bedrooms and outside, a dog-friendly garden with fantastic views over the river estuary.
As I approached the property, I was a little bit worried about all the steps that we had to come up because we're not getting any younger and that could prove a bit of a problem in the future. Overall, the house is in very good order. The views are absolutely wonderful and I could just imagine Chris down there on his boat and me up here doing the cooking, watching him.
The kitchen was lovely. The views were to die for. With all things considered, I don't think it's going to be a contender. I think the steepness of the walk up due to my wife's previous illness would prove a barrier as we get older. I just don't think it's going to be a contender for us.
I must say, I'm loath to leave this place, this beautiful view. All done inside?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
OK.
Fine, lovely.
On to the next one.
OK.
At over 400 miles, Cornwall's coastline is the longest of any county. Due to its growing popularity as a tourist destination, more and more people are using its beaches and the sea. This in turn is leading to an increasing number of call-outs for the charity responsible for sea rescue, the Royal National Lifeboat Institution. Chris loves the water and Margaret wants to get involved in community activities. So we sent them to the RNLI lifeboat station in Falmouth to find out about the life-saving service and to see if they can help. They're meeting the station's chairman, Alan Barnes.
How long has the RNLI been here in Falmouth in this station?
Well, actually, the lifeboat service has been here since 1867. The first boat was called the City of Gloucester, and it was given by the people of Gloucester and brought to Falmouth by rail and brought through the town by horse and carriage, and it was housed in the dockyard over there.
And how long have you had the present boat?
Since about 2001. She was named by the Queen on the start of her Golden Jubilee tour.
What's the most usual call-outs you get here?
The all-weather boat will go out to medical evacuations, ships on fire, vessels that are broken down. We've had a tug that's steering broke that we had to get in. This is the 18th busiest station in the RNLI. There was 80-odd calls last year.
Both Chris and Margaret are keen to get involved. And like all the stations around the country, RNLI Falmouth relies almost entirely on local volunteers to keep the service going, from helping with fundraising to piloting the boats themselves. The station's offshore lifeboat is designed to function in all weathers. Normally crewed up by 7 volunteers, it has enough space to accommodate 28 survivors. Offering to show them around is volunteer Bill Hudson.
Each seat has a harness on it. If the boat capsizes, which is very, very rare, it can turn over and back up again in 10 seconds and you'll still be sitting in your seats.
What sort of speed does the vessel maintain?
When she's going out to a shout, then obviously, you know, you're on full throttle to get there as fast as you can, and she can push up to about 25 knots.
Can I just have a go at
yeah,
seeing
of
how it
course you
is
can.
to,
Yes, you help
manoeuvre?
yourself to steering. Yeah, just keep away from the rocks.
Yeah.
Now that Chris and Margaret have been shown the ropes, it's time to see if we can come to the rescue and find them a new home here in Cornwall. For our second property, we're venturing 50 miles east, away from the part of Cornwall Chris and Margaret know well, to the village of Downderry. The coastal village has a strong community feel to it, and there's a wide range of facilities, including a post office and a pub with its own deli. Both the village and beach offer views over the bay towards Loo Island. And our second property, situated in the heart of Downderry, takes full advantage of them.
So then, house number 2 is this one.
Nice position.
Yeah, lovely.
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
You can imagine, as soon as we get a bit of elevation, you're going to have some fantastic sea views.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the style of it?
Yeah, very unusual. Yeah, not quite
bit
sure
different.
what it's going to be like inside. It's,
Well, believe it or not, this dates back to the early 1900s.
gosh.
But it's got a much more modern facade, and the new conservatory certainly adds to that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fancy looking inside?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Good.
Our second property's age should appeal to Chris and Margaret, and it's packed with character inside. As well as a more gentle approach to the house, all the accommodation is arranged on one level.
So then, let's start in the kitchen. Just mind your step on the way up there. Now, Margaret, you told me you do all the cooking, so you're the boss. What do we think?
Yeah, it's lovely. I like it. Really nice first impression. Is it a recent addition to the building, or...?
It's been recently done up, but according to the owner, this part of the house, it was built at the same time as the rest of it.
No, it's lovely. They've done it really nice. I like the ceiling and the light coming through the centre and all the windows round. It's very nice.
Very well done.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Now, as lovely as this kitchen is, I don't think we're spending a whole lot of time in here because I alluded to the view earlier, and this house certainly makes the most of that. Follow me. Now, this is when the Victorian dimensions start to reveal themselves, really, isn't it? Good size, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
Very
lovely
good,
size.
Yeah. Nice high ceilings and yes.
Telltale signs, really. You know, you've got more detail on the cornicing, deeper skirting boards, the fireplace. It feels like a lot more history here than we've seen so far, doesn't it?
Yes.
Sort of dimensions you had in mind?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is lovely for a dining room. It's a wonderful size, yeah.
One improvement the current owners have made that really set this house apart is out the front here, so let's take a look. Now, I think this adds an essential dimension to this home, bearing in mind this fantastic view, doesn't it?
Gorgeous view.
Yeah, sit here reading the Sunday papers and having coffee.
See, that's more like it. You're talking about your everyday, relaxed, retired life. I like the sound of this.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at all that sea.
It is, it's a nice space.
Lovely.
I like the flooring. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Happy so far?
Yeah?
Yes.
A much better reaction to our second property. If this sunny space and the dining room aren't enough, there's a further reception area at the other end of the conservatory, which the current owners use as their living room. The house comes with 4 bedrooms. They're all accessed by a central hallway, and they all have use of a large family bathroom.
So, the master bedroom. What do we think?
It's wide enough.
What, for the all-important, what is it? King size, is it?
Super king size.
Super king.
Yeah.
Because it looks like big.
Nice size.
Now, you've got 4 bedrooms with this house, OK?
Okay.
This is easily the biggest. Next biggest, the one next door, and you've got 2 guest rooms at the end, if you like.
Right.
So you asked for 3, you've got 4, but a
Yeah.
couple of them are fairly small. But the good thing about those is they're self-contained if you want them to be. You've got another door at the far end of the building.
Oh, right, OK.
Now, there is planning consent, current, to convert the loft space
Oh, right.
to a really nice ensuite master bedroom.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That's an
Okay.
option for the future, because obviously any alterations like that cost money. But options they give you. Shall we have a look at the garden?
OK, yeah.
Follow me.
So our second property gives Chris and Margaret the option to let out bedrooms to holiday guests, or even their attic space should they decide to convert it. The grounds include several patio and decked areas, and a reasonably sized garden to the rear of the house.
So all in all, not a bad package, is it?
No, very nice.
So
Yeah.
how much do you think it's on the market for then?
After getting it totally wrong last time and taking into account the sea view, I'll go slightly over at 510.
510, OK.
I'm going to err on the side of caution again. Trouble is, you've got the sea view.
Trouble is we've got the sea view?
I don't mean that. I mean, it's
I'm only
thinking of the cost. 499.
OK. Well, this house is on the market for offers around £465,000.
Gosh.
That's very, very good.
Yeah.
Then.
Isn't it?
Surprising.
That's good news.
Now you know the price. What do you think about it? I know we've only just had a quick run around it, but what's your thoughts?
That means there's extra money in the budget to be able to do the extension.
Yeah. That could give you a bit of income. I mean, it's close to the sea. Maybe now, go back into the house without me warbling in your ears. Go and have a look at those other bedrooms, but to get a real feel for the place. You know,
Okay.
so, you know, go back into the conservatory and maybe have a bit of time relaxing in there. See if that's the sort of place, this is the sort of home, maybe, that you could retire to.
OK.
All right?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll
lovely.
get the papers from the car.
Thank you.
Don't take too long.
On the market at offers around £465,000, our second offering is well under Chris and Margaret's budget. It's a detached seaside property, parts of which date back to the early 1900s. There are 3 reception rooms, including a conservatory with stunning views over the bay. It comes with 4 bedrooms, and there's the possibility of turning the attic space into a further bedroom. The property has a reasonably sized garden, and it's located in the middle of a vibrant village.
I wonder if, because this end of the house has got its own access, whether you could make this into like a self-contained annex, or you know, some sort of maybe even do B&B, or.
I think we could do something with it, yes.
Well, it's certainly got some beautiful sea views. The accommodation, certainly enough room and everything. I think with some slight adjustments, maybe the loft converted into another bedroom with an ensuite would be a nice idea. And
Yeah, it's certainly got a nice, bright, airy feel about it.
Overall, I think the house has got potential. It leaves us room perhaps to create the annex that we will want. And it could possibly be a contender.
So, all done?
Yeah, fine,
Yes,
thanks.
thank you.
Giving you a taste for seaside living, is it?
Definitely.
Good.
Very good.
Let's head back.
Okay.
It's day 2 of our property search, and on a budget of £500,000, we're helping Chris and Margaret swap the West Midlands for the West Country. Coming up, size is everything at our mystery house.
Bit larger,
Yes,
isn't it?
that's a
Yeah,
lot nicer.
certainly a lot bigger.
And I join an elite crew of oarsmen at one of the county's top regattas.
Don't tell me this is the raft.
This is it. Jump up.
Well, so far, Margaret and Chris haven't given a great deal away. So much so that I don't really have any idea of which of yesterday's properties came out on top. So, today we want to mix things up a bit, which, let's face it, that's what the mystery house is all about, isn't it? Now, so far, well, Chris hasn't seen this stone-built property he mentioned. They also haven't looked around a property that gives them the ability to earn some income, which they have mentioned in passing, at least. Well, we're going to remedy that, but in order to get these attributes, they will have to make a compromise, and I think that comes in the form of doing some work to the property.
For our mystery house, we're heading back towards where we started in the west of the county, to the pretty coastal village of Porthallow. And before we go to the mystery house, we're making a stop at the village. It's somewhere Chris and Margaret have never been before, and it has a number of features that I think will appeal.
Dog-friendly beach, coastal path going either side of it. What do you make of it so far?
It looks really nice.
Lovely, yeah. Nice
Really
and
impressed.
peaceful and lovely open space to watch the boats.
Believe it or not, this beach and this car park was bought and is owned by the village itself. They formed a trust in the 1970s. They're doing up the village hall. There's a great community here. You've got a pub, you've got a tea shop, and I remember you said yesterday, oh, I could just see myself having a glass of wine in one of the properties.
Yeah.
Well, they've got a vineyard here as well.
Grow your own.
Maybe
Yeah.
not a good idea. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that could be bad news. So what do you think? Is this the sort of place you could see yourself putting down roots?
Oh, yeah. I
Yes,
could walk out
definitely.
here every morning and stay here all day.
Good place to walk the dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, great, fantastic.
OK, well, let's see what we make of the house itself, just this way.
OK.
Our mystery house is just a few minutes' walk from the beach. The property does give Chris and Margaret the self-contained holiday let they were after, but they may need to add their personal touch to the house.
Very nice.
You found the slate?
Yeah, and the stone, or granite maybe. But it's actually built in the 70s. But you like the character?
Yes.
What do you think of the position?
Lovely.
Quiet, isn't it?
Yeah,
Very quiet.
nice.
Yes.
I want you to be fairly open-minded as to maybe decor and what have you. Tell me what you really think.
OK.
All right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
OK.
Initial impressions are favourable, and there's lots of potential with this house if Chris and Margaret are open to doing a bit of work.
Now, we've got a couple of reception rooms to choose from at the moment. First one here, being used as an office. Let's take a peek in the dining room, which is a bit bigger.
Adequately sized for a dining room.
Yeah, it's good size.
Now, if you kept this as a dining room, it would mean you'd have a fairly modest-sized living room. Now, I was wondering whether or not you could dispense with a formal dining room and maybe knock this wall through to have one big living room and maybe do something with the kitchen.
Right.
Let's take a look at the kitchen and see what you think of it. So you see the kitchen is a decent size.
Yes.
But it's nice and bright again with the dual aspect windows, lots of work surfaces.
Would you keep the kitchen as it is and maybe muck around with the dining and living room?
I think that'd be the first job.
Yeah. That would also keep this be a dining kitchen still because you've got a utility behind you to get all the stuff out of the way.
Oh, right.
OK.
Yep.
So, let's take a look at your master bedroom before we look at the added extra, shall we?
OK.
The downstairs also has a shower room, handy for Chris when he comes home after a day at sea. Upstairs there are 4 double bedrooms, 3 of which have built-in wardrobes and a family bathroom with corner bath. All of the bedrooms are a decent size, but the master is something else.
Now, I'm hoping you're going to like this master bedroom.
That's given us the space, definitely.
It's a bit larger,
Yes,
isn't it?
a lot nicer.
Certainly a lot bigger. Beautiful windows and lovely aspect, and certainly got the space.
Plenty of light.
It might not come as a surprise. This house used to be an upside-down house. They used to have the living room up here because of this beautiful view. But I think, as a bedroom, it really works.
Yeah,
It's lovely.
yeah, definitely with the outlook over the garden and everything. That's lovely.
Very positive, though, I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah, lovely size, definitely.
OK, well, before we go outside, there is a potential money-making aspect to this house as well. So let's take it there.
OK.
Our previous property offered Chris and Margaret the potential to rent out individual rooms to holiday guests. But our mystery house comes with an up-and-running holiday let in a separate wing.
So now we come into the annex.
All right.
Good.
An extra living room.
That's a good size.
It is nice size.
Yeah,
living room.
lovely size. Lovely
Wow.
window.
You might not be using it because behind that door is an ensuite shower room with a loo. Then, separate front door, kitchen, bedroom.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's some earning potential.
That's the sort of thing we were looking for, definitely.
Good.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's earning potential, but it's got a track record. Last reported figures on this place showed a gross turnover of just under £8,000. That was let, I think, something like 27 weeks in that year.
Okay.
Not bad, eh?
Yeah, good. Definitely.
OK, so, more than enough bedrooms for you. Letting accommodation. All we need now is some outside space, don't we?
Yeah.
Lead the way.
Nice.
And that space includes a large gravel driveway, plenty of room for visitors and guests. And a double garage at the back of the house for Chris to store all his sailing equipment. There's also a patio area with a pond, enough grass for the dogs to run around on, as well as a separate section for growing vegetables.
So, what do you think?
Oh, lovely and peaceful, isn't it?
Very quiet.
Yeah.
It's nice.
How much do you think this mystery house is on the market for?
Taking everything into consideration, I'd say 520.
All right.
I think it will be somewhere about 490.
Pretty good guess. This place is on the market for offers around £479,000.
Well,
Okay.
still under budget,
That's
isn't
under
it?
budget, so yes, it's good.
Gives you some change to maybe make some cosmetic changes, update a few bits and bobs.
Yes.
So, we'll go back inside the house. There's lots to it, and you might get a better idea of where you might want to knock a few walls down.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Take as long as you like.
OK.
I'll enjoy the garden.
Great.
Cheers.
Catch you later on.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, certainly a lot more animated in this house store looking around because it gives them so much more of an option for living accommodation, but also to maybe earn money. And it's hard not to fall in love with this location, isn't it?
On the market for £479,000, our mystery house is £31,000 under budget, leaving some money in the pot to make changes. It's a slate and stone fronted property built in the 1970s. The accommodation includes a spacious sitting room and dining room that could be knocked through together to make a larger reception area. There are 4 bedrooms and it comes with a self-contained annex which would be perfect for a holiday let.
The location is absolutely superb, village-wise. It looks really good down there. The house itself is delightful. It is a little dated, so it will need some cosmetic updating. I would imagine that I would go for it more than Margaret.
I'm not 100% sure I could see myself living here. The position, location, fantastic, but all in all, maybe the house just isn't quite right for me.
So, all done inside and out?
Yeah.
We are.
Did you get right to the back of the garden?
I did, yeah.
Cracking spot, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely views over the valley.
Good. All right, well, let's find you somewhere to have a bit of a chat and a think, and we'll catch up later on.
OK, lovely.
Coastal Cornwall is rightly proud of its maritime heritage. Situated on the southern coast of the county is Foy, not only a historic town, but also a thriving commercial seaport, exporting locally mined china clay to destinations around the globe. For most of the year, it's a peaceful place. But for 1 week each August, everything changes when the world-famous Royal Regatta comes to town. As well as the serious business of yacht racing, events include a town carnival and a fireworks display. I'm meeting up with Leslie McCartney to find out more about its illustrious past and its current form.
Now then, Leslie, beautiful day.
Lovely, isn't
Beautiful
it?
part of the world.
Beautiful.
How long has it been going here?
Well, it was noted that in 1838 the regatta was well established,
Yeah.
but in its present form it's been going about 50, 60 years.
Now, I've heard it called a royal regatta.
That's right.
Really?
That's because Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, they visited Foy in 1846.
Did they know? So it keeps its royal status.
Yes, it does.
I don't think I've ever been to a Cornish town so busy, and it's so full of people. How many people come here each year?
Absolutely tens of thousands, yeah, into
Tens
Foy.
of thousands
Yeah.
of people. How much money is generated from this each year?
It's been reported £5 million comes into Cornwall's economy just through Regatta Week.
Just through this one week?
Yes.
Now, it's looking around here. That doesn't look like a posh yacht race. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Talk me through some of the events here.
There's all sorts of crazy stuff today. Later on, we've got some swimming races, and we've also got a raft race.
A raft race.
Yeah.
Now, little birdie tells me that I might be getting a bit more involved in that. What kind of rafts are they?
Built at the last minute, few oil drums, I expect. Nothing that should float.
Can I say, it doesn't sound particularly seaworthy, and I'll be judging that, will I?
You might be involved in some way, yes.
Oh, good.
Well, it turns out that my involvement is going to be a bit more hands-on than just judging the race. I've been told to meet Jodie Makin at the end of the pier, and to wear a wetsuit.
Now, Joe, I understand you built the raft that we're racing on today.
Yep.
Right, OK, so you're local then, yeah?
No, I'm from Bolton. My mum and dad live down here. So
Bolton, not known for its boat building, is it?
not particularly, no.
OK. You do this all the time, do you? Or?
No, first time.
First time you built a raft? Right, OK. So what made you get involved this year?
My kids have been asking for a few years to do it, so this year
Right.
we decided to have a go.
So surely, you know, you built this raft, you're going to show us all how it's done. You're going to captain this boat.
Nope,
Why not?
because I built it and I've seen it, so
That's why I'm going on it, is it?
that's right.
Right, which way's this boat?
Just over there.
Thanks.
Well, I'm sure it can't be that bad. There are certainly some impressive-looking vessels here, and I get the feeling that perhaps I'm not taking this seriously enough. Time to meet my crew.
Now then, I'm reporting for duty. Understand, I'm in the rough race.
Yes, you
Don't tell me this is the rough.
This is it. Jump up.
Right. Cool, Bennett. Hello! Right, OK. We're going to actually race in this thing, are we?
Right, yeah, you are, mate.
Out.
And there you go.
Stick your paddle in.
You're off.
It's off to a good start, then. Perhaps the clue is in the name of the raft.
I'll swim it.
Does anybody else want to come on a raft?
That setback makes us late in lining up for the start of the 50-metre race, with a new crew member on board.
Race start. Ready, go!
We're taking on water.
But despite all the effort, we finish in last place.
Well, a bad workman blames his tools or his crew. This was an elite crew of amateurs led by a fool. Sorry, lads. Yeah, he's fine. It was good. We nearly won.
With the fun over, it's back to the serious matter of finding Chris and Margaret somewhere to live. And I'm keen to see what they think of the houses we've shown them.
So, after a short amount of time to think about things, which one of the three properties is your favourite?
I think I'd go for the first property.
Really?
Decor-wise and the way the place is actually set out, it's absolutely beautiful in the views. The unfortunate problem is the steps, which would prove too much, I think.
Do you agree?
I agree mostly with my wife that, yes, the views were absolutely stunning for us, some of the best I've seen. It is the steps that would prevent us from going for that one.
Goodness me. That is a surprise. I thought the Mystery House was the, you know, the ace up my sleeve. you know, the practicality, there's no steps, or the size, the earning potential.
Yes, it has.
But it's the semi-detached house you went for.
Yes, surprise, surprise.
Why then? I mean, is it just those views that blew you away?
The views blew us away, definitely.
Right.
And the location, closeness to Truro.
If you had to buy one of those houses at the money that they're on the market at, are you telling me that you would, out of those three, buy house number one?
Yes.
So moving forward, what's the most important thing? What are you going to drop off this list? Or are you just going to keep looking until hopefully you find all the criteria you set out?
We know that there's got to be a compromise, and we think that the view will be the compromise, that we'll have to go more inland.
Sure. Well, you do get a bit more for your money inland, so I wish you the very best of luck. I've loved looking for property around here, which is, you know, it's a great part of the world, and I can see why you and many more people like you want to move down here. So whatever happens, please let us know what you do, won't you?
We will do.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not surprised that Chris and Margaret's favourite property was house number one, given those fantastic views, and sea views were their priority. I am somewhat taken aback, however, that in order to proceed in their search down here in Cornwall, they're going to compromise on views in order to hopefully obtain earning potential, enough bedrooms and a nice flat garden. But then surely, isn't that the mystery house that they've recently seen? I'm not sure. Maybe it's all down to taste. What I do wish them, though, is the very best of luck in looking for a property in this absolutely glorious part of the world. See you next time.
If you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, England, or even further afield to the continent and need our help, then please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.
For centuries, ships have set sail from this historic port, loaded up with a mineral that has put this county on the international map. Find out what it is and where I am in just a few moments.
This show, we're helping a couple who have given up work to enjoy some quality time together. We'll be putting our feet up at one of our properties.
Reading the Sunday papers, having coffee.
And lovers in the air at another.
She might even kiss you at that.
Today I'm in Foy in Cornwall. During the early 1900s, this county produced and exported more than half of the world's supply of china clay, and it remains a multi-million-pound industry today. In fact, you can still see the huge cargo ships travelling through this harbour on their way out to sea. Later on, I'll be popping into Foy to find out how they celebrate their maritime heritage. But first, let's see what else makes this county such a special place to be. The average price for a detached house here in Cornwall is around £262,000. That's around £5,000 above the national figure. Now, according to local estate agents, they expect the market to remain fairly buoyant over the next few years, due in no small part to the strong tourist industry, which then in turn fuels demand for second properties, especially around coastal areas like this. Now, heading over to firm favourites like Foy and St Maurs, well, a sea view can actually double the asking price of a property. But whereabouts in Cornwall do today's buyers want to look? Let's meet them and find out.
For the past 5 years, Christopher and Margaret have lived in this 3-bedroom house in the city of Worcester. But now they're seeking a complete change from the hustle and bustle of the West Midlands.
Living in Worcester is very nice. It's a nice city, but we are in the middle of a housing estate, even though we've got a lovely, quirky house in that housing estate. But you can hear quite a lot of traffic noise when you're sat outside.
I think we'd like a more village lifestyle, possibly, so we could get involved with the local community.
They've been married for 18 years and they first met through a dating agency. But it wasn't the first time Margaret had clocked Chris.
She said, "I know you." I said, "Do you? Well, I don't know you." And it turned out we'd lived 6 doors away from each other, started chatting and dating, and I moved in 2 months later.
Chris is taking early retirement as an electrical engineer. He's looking forward to spending more time in the garden and on his other hobbies.
I've always liked messing about in boats and on water. You know, I find it very calming. At the moment, living in Worcester, we're about quite a long way away from the sea, and I hope that when we get to Cornwall, we'll be doing a lot more sailing.
Margaret has also given up work as a nurse after receiving some bad news a few years ago.
One day I was just walking back to the car and started staggering around the car park, like I'd had sort of 20 pints or something. And then upon investigations at hospital and everything, they found out that I had a brain tumour.
Although she's been given the all clear, Margaret's recent setback has been the catalyst in this move.
This is why it's come to this point now, with me having my illnesses. It's as if it's a kickstart, saying, come on, you know, you've got the opportunity now to do it.
And with their grown-up children from previous marriages having all flown the nest, it's now a chance to spend some quality time together.
As Margaret regains some strength, we hope that we can do a lot more walking across the coast of Cornwall, across the beaches, take the dogs. They love running across the beaches and going in the water. I want to have more time with my wife. I want to have more time to do the things that are pleasurable.
All that's left is to find out how much is financing this new life in the Cornish countryside.
The budget for the move to Cornwall is £500,000.
Chris and Margaret would prefer to be